You're in the arcade, your hands are sweaty, there's body odor, everybody stinks. Somebody spilled a drink on the floor and your feet is sticky, and then all of a sudden you hear screaming, you hear rowdiness, and you're wondering, what the hell is that and what's going on? You look over in the corner and you see this arcade machine you've never seen before. On the top of it, it says
Mortal Kombat.
So you walk over and you watch these people playing, and on screen you have characters that look real and they're throwing flames at each other, and then Sub-Zero pulls your frickin' spine out of your fricking neck. I was hooked, I was amazed, I was blown away. Welcome back, all my combatants, Frangulums. We're burying nostalgia under a pile of pixeled gore. Mortal Kombat Legacy Kollection just landed, and it landed like a fatality from the past, dusting off the arcade ghosts, the lost codes, and every pixel your therapist warned you about. Game compilations are either museum curation or digital yard sales. MK Kollection, it's a museum. Why? Because it actually rescued lost versions of games and turned them into playable history. The MK Kollection is a beautiful collection of classic Mortal Kombat games. Before I get any deeper into that, and if I could quickly ask you to like and subscribe, it really helps a brother out and it goes a long way. Now let's fight!
It's called Mortal Kombat.
The Mortal Kombat Legacy Kollection includes a comprehensive selection of 23 games from the franchise's early history, spanning from 1992 to 2003. The collection features multiple versions of the main series entries, including arcade, console, and handheld ports, as well as spin-offs.
Let's just say it has great sentimental value to me.
The full list of games is as follows: Mortal Kombat Arcade, SNES, Genesis, Game Boy, and Game Gear. Mortal Kombat 2 Arcade, SNES, Genesis, Game Boy, 32X. Mortal Kombat 3 Arcade, SNES, Genesis. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 Arcade, WaveNet Arcade, SNES. Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero. Mortal Kombat 4 Arcade. Mortal Kombat Special Forces, PlayStation. Mortal Kombat Advance, Game Boy Advance. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Game Boy Advance. And lastly, Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition, Game Boy Advance. Interesting to note, the collection includes the rare WaveNet version of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, which was briefly available in limited arcade locations in 1997 and was previously considered lost media. This version features Noob Saibot as a selectable character and other unique balance changes. The collection also preserves the original manuals for each game, online multiplayer, and includes a Fatality Trainer mode for practicing finishing moves. Additionally, players can unlock hidden content, access developer menus, and toggle on features like move list and CRT features. For preservationists and completionists, this is a one-stop history lesson with playable artifacts rather than dusty old screenshots. The creators of the MK Kollection Digital Eclipse didn't just slap ROMs into a menu and call it a day. We've got our full rollback netcode for online play, rewind, save states, CRT filters. It's basically the difference between reading piano music and shredding like The Edge, aka that dude from YouTube.
Get on with it, man!
Rewind helps new players. Fatality Trainer demystifies timing. You can also change the settings on every single game individually, which is pretty awesome. And you can actually turn on the option for unlimited fatality time. So once it's time for the fatality, you can just stand there and keep trying it until you get it. The on-screen move option, I love it, and I turned it on immediately because as much as I love the first 3 games, I'm not going to remember all the moves. It's on there on screen the whole time if you want, or you can turn it off. But as soon as it goes into fatality mode, the moves on screen will switch to whatever your fatalities are for that character. And I love that because you can just look at it and try it immediately. You can turn on unlimited time to do it, unless you accidentally hit them, which will end the match, which is so annoying when that happens. You know what I'm talking about.
Sub-Zero wins.
The meat and potatoes of this entire collection is the huge library of documentary and extras, which was truly remarkable with how much there is. The collections, interactive documentary, and archive material. It's interviews with the original Midway crew, timelines, concept art. It's Mortal Kombat annotated, gaming history where a professor, this would be the research monograph, bonus commentary, goes through the very beginning of the series. Then there'll be an option for a picture or like a document, an early drawing, and then there could be a movie. Just the sheer amount of content available is kind of staggering, truly. When you go through it and they actually went that deep with it, they have all these behind the scenes videos from like the very first game where it's just them and a camera and a mat and like this a person just doing the moves. Watching the entire history from basically 1992 to 2003 and how amazingly deep it is, it's really kind of mind-blowing, and it even shows you a percentage of how much you're done as they break it down by sections. It's almost as if they're making a game in itself to go through the menu. Pretty sure there's a achievement in there somewhere for when you actually 100% every single section of the documentary, and I'll find out once I finally go through all of the extra material, of which there is a lot.
All right, yeah, I know, isn't that cool? I'm famous now. Yeah.
But there can be definitely a big imbalance between the games. My biggest gripe, full stop, is the inclusion of the shittiest versions of the games that no one in their right mind would want to actually play. Like, I went through every game once just to do it, but I'm never going to go back to the Game Boy version or the Game Gear version. They just look god awful, just terrible. At the end of the day, why would you want to play anything less than the arcade version, which is always the superior version?
Emotional, damn it!
Playing MK2 again for the SNES, which was hardcore nostalgia for me, because Mortal Kombat 2 is my favorite MK game and one of my absolute top 5 of all time games, period. Mortal Kombat 2 on SNES was my favorite SNES games. Could not wait to play it. Still remember buying it after high school immediately and bought it. I couldn't love it anymore, and I was amazed with how good it looks. Even now, years later, I'm still looking at it and amazed at how good of an arcade port MK2 on SNES was. It looks spectacular. But then on the same end, the 32X version of Mortal Kombat 2 was there, and that was cool. I've never played a 32X game in my life. I never actually owned a Genesis. My friend had one, I had a SNES, but I was surprised at how bad the 32X version looked, considering it's supposed to be quote-unquote 32-bit compared to the SNES 16-bit. It was still amazing to me to see how good the SNES port of MK2 looked. I'm never going to play the Game Boy Advance version.
You can trust a sorcerer sometimes.
One of my biggest annoyances is the fact that they have Deadly Alliance, which could be a cool game, but it's the Game Boy Advance version, when there's an Xbox version, a PlayStation 2, and a GameCube version, which will obviously look far better. For whatever reason, they have the Game Boy Advance version, and it looks so freaking bad. It's 3D, sure, but it's on the Advance, so it's not very good 3D, really blocky, and it's terrible. And there's no why would I want to play that? I do not want to play the Game Boy version Mortal Kombat game. It's gonna look like crap, it's gonna play like crap, runs at like 5 frames a second. My one real beef is that a sheer amount of games on there that I just don't care about and I'm never gonna play.
Do you realize what you've done?
But I did like that Sub-Zero and Mythologies and the Special Forces games were there just to see some different. I actually played Sub-Zero Mythologies on the 64 when it first came out, and there's just something cool about it. Really unique idea. You're running along and it looks like MK and you can do all the moves still. You're leveling up Sub-Zero, you're going through the story. Plus, this is the PlayStation version, so when I played the MK version on 64, there were no cutscenes. But here, you get to watch the really amazingly awful, but in a good way, cutscenes. But I love them. Super cheesy, and I never got to watch them when the game first came out, so being able to see that for the first time is cool. The game itself, I still kind of dig. It's just a really interesting concept to me. I think back then they were actually trying to start a new franchise with the Mythology series. Then they were going to have another one, maybe a Scorpion one or a Johnny Cage one. It didn't do well enough. Special Forces, the game where you play Jax, and it's in the hardcore, blocky, early PlayStation style, which I kind of love to see because I never had a PlayStation either. I had a 64. I was a big time Nintendork in my earlier game days. Being able to play Mythologies and Special Forces was cool. I do wish that they had more games like that on there. Could have just not had the Game Boy Advance version of Deadly Alliance. Like the last 3 games on the entire list are Game Boy Advance games, and I'm never going to play those. Why would I want to play the far less superior version of any game, period? For me, about half of this entire list I'm never going to play. Going through the first 4 games again, 2 is my absolute favorite. Of course, I love 1. And then I forgot how awesome 3 was because I actually really did like the combo system that it added, and the run button. People seem to hate that. Still remember some of the combos, which is crazy. But one thing about that is that there doesn't seem to be any way to see all the combo moves. When you turn the show move thing on, it doesn't show you any of the combos, and I haven't found anywhere in the game where I can see the combos other than going online and looking it up, which I do not want to do. Maybe there's a training mode for the combos that I missed. There's definitely a huge imbalance in terms of quality. You can play the arcade version of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, but then you can play the Game Boy Advance version of a Mortal Kombat game that just looks like absolute crap and runs like crap and has terrible sound.
I heard things.
Certain ports handle environmentally damage differently, affecting the match flow. Some of the rare original glitches are preserved. One of the big ones that I remember was in MK2 when you'd punch someone into the acid. When the skull comes back up, it would make a weird sound. It'd go, "Arr!" That's still there. And that was a weird bug that I remember big time.
Flawless victory.
These aren't remakes, these are just the original game. All the original bugs, quote unquote bugs, could still be there.
A mortal can't exist here with his soul intact.
Unless Shinnok allowed it to be. I'll inform Quan Chi. The 2 of you continue to track him.
You remember what it was like to buy a brand new game and you open it up and you can't go home yet. Maybe you gotta wait for your parents to pick you up and drive you home, or you're on the bus and you're dying to get home. So you just sit there and you read the manual, the nice clean manuals with the nice color pictures. So all the Easter eggs from before are still there, like the codes and secrets were a huge part of the game, especially from like 2 on. It became a bigger thing. It was almost a throwaway thing in the first game, but then they started focusing on actually adding secrets and Easter eggs and all that. Noob Saibot is now playable in the WaveNet Ultimate MK3 version. There's hidden developer menus that reproduce cheat codes. They seem to have removed the option to press a bunch of button sequences, and now it's just an option in the menu, where originally you would put in a series of buttons and then that would show up in the menu after. But nothing's perfect. Online rollouts sometimes have hiccups. Early players have reported connection oddities, patch-related headaches. The compilation nature means some ports feel like museum dioramas rather than balanced modern fighters. And some reviewers have reported that the UI can be overwhelming for newcomers. The amount of love that Digital Eclipse has put into this is staggering. This collection is a hardcore nostalgia trip of the 90s arcade era. Chewing gum smell, coin clatter, body odor, and who's got 2 more quarters energy. It's also a pulp culture time capsule. The franchise influenced films. Tarantino curated a fighting game exhibit. This would be the centerpiece. For fans and historians, this is a flawless victory, not because it's perfect, but because it cares. It preserves, explains, and plays the living heck out of the past of Mortal Kombat. But for competitive players too, there's value, but expect to bring your patience in the online lobby. My score for the Mortal Kombat Legacy Kollection, 8.5. The majority of that is just my nostalgia for the first 3 games, and it does lose points for the sheer amount of crap games that I'm never going to play. But the sheer amount of history and documentary and lore and extras out of there is actually rather mind-blowing, and it took me a couple nights to get through all of it, and I still don't think I'm completely done. But if you're a feature nerd like me, you're going to go through all of it piece by piece, looking at every picture, at every single document, every single video, just to catch something that you may have missed before.
Sir,
A mortal has escaped from the prison of souls.
If you love Mortal Kombat, then you should get this game. And the fact that it's only $50 is a ridiculous value considering it comes with 23 games, even though half of them you probably won't want to play. The sheer amount of history and information and documentary that's here is really amazing. If you enjoyed my deep dive into the bloodbath, like and subscribe and hit that little bell. Tell me in the comments which lost Mortal Kombat artifact should be rescued next. See you next time, and remember, fight! Keep gaming.